I mean, I love environments that are full of energy. I love being in places like the Briar, like this place, when it's a packed gym where there's just a buzz and a lot of excitement around it. So to be a part of helping create those moments through what I do with photos, with the stories that I write to help people follow along and add to it, I think is just surreal. My job now sometimes is you have two 1,500-word pieces, it's 3 o'clock, they're due at 9. And you have to go out and shoot their practice and interview all of them tonight. In the end, you have 45 minutes to write 1,000 words, have fun. If anybody wants to make it in communications and media or anything, I think the number one lesson, the number one discipline is to refuse to ask for any extensions ever and just to put it on yourself that this is my job. I personally love the deadline rush.
This is our archives. This is right back to the 1800s. This is the Brandon Sun in this room. This is what we do. Journalism is it's a calling. It's not just a job. You have to be willing to put in the extra hours. It's always on your mind. You know, you never get away from it completely. So that's something we saw with Thomas right away was, you know, his interest in the job and the fact that he embraced the role and realized pretty quickly that this wasn't just another 9-to-5 job. This is something you have to be invested in.
Brooklyn Toews hanging out with you here almost halfway through our 2 o'clock hour. Walking into the studio for the first time at CMU was such a cool experience because that's where things feel tangible, right? You have all this physical equipment around you and surrounding you, and I get to do that here. Connecting communities, that's what Golden West does, and CMU taught me a lot about appreciating the communities you're in and the variety of people you have there. We have a very multicultural area in the Pembina Valley, so I learned a lot about how to treat and work with that as I was learning media at CMU. As a Christian at a Christian university mostly, but you meet a lot of people from a lot of religions. You learn to have a lot of respect for people. You learn to listen twice as much. So no matter where people are coming from, I'm just like, yeah, come, you have a story to tell, and I want to help you tell that story.
Her personal skills, her video skills, her writing skills, and more have allowed Brooklyn to do what very few people in this building have been able to do, and that is most of the jobs that are available inside of this building. And I think her knowledge from CMU has helped with that.
It's weird, but almost every single class I've taken in terms of practical communication at CMU has applied itself to ministry. The different kinds of media that we're engaged in allow for different avenues and possibilities of ministry that sometimes open doors that weren't there before. So in my own thinking, I was like, I'm going to go visit somebody and I'm going to ask them personal questions about faith. My purpose isn't, though, just to make a great video. My purpose is actually it's almost like a pastoral visit while doing the video.
You could hear the resonating among people. So he's using this medium that enables people to ask the more difficult questions in a way that you know that Moses is going to manage this safely. And so what he did is he just evoked these questions that you think, oh wow, I didn't realize that person was thinking about this too. But they are.
So I do a lot of creative writing. I also have been working on some poster design, some graphic design. I do a lot of photography for events. And then also, yeah, the other half is actually being the liaison for the event and talking to people. Yeah, making sure everything's under control. I really like talking to donors when donors will call in. So that is really interesting, seeing the different MCC projects around the world and seeing the impact that they have and the impact that they have on donors, and hearing the donors how they feel once they feel that they're making a difference. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I'm very grateful for CMU, for the 4 years that I spent there. I did the out-of-town program my first year, and that also really shaped my experience. It was very positive.
I see as Emily Ann's strength, and is a real asset to the department, is that she comes with a confidence and a willingness to take a risk, but hand in hand with that, also the humility, really, and the graciousness to accept constructive review of your work then in that context and always be learning.
While I was attending CMU before I got the practicum, I don't think it's something that I would have even dreamed of because it just seemed too far out there and something that seemed like it should have come further down the road. So I feel really honestly quite blessed. A frequent thought that comes up from my studies at CMU would be the thought of telling a compelling story. That's something that came through in a lot of classes, whether it was the radio team classes where we're doing focusing heavily on a few interviews each semester to tell a good story, or whether that was through the qualitative inquiry class with Rod Raynar. I mean, obviously that shows up when I'm doing interviews for articles, asking good questions that will take you to a place that's going to get you the story that you want and the story that's going to be compelling to your readers.
What do you got to do to keep this momentum going now that you're in your stride?
Well, you know, like I said, keep things quick, keep things simple. Get our messages deep in the zone, cycle it around, and make sure we get some traffic through. I think that's the key to our game, and we'll keep going with that.
Appreciate this, Jason. Thanks for your time.
Anytime, David.
Back to you, Mark and Rob, upstairs in the True North management booth.
What was kind of the defining moment was Jason's writing ability. Right from the get-go, his writing was clear, concise, very little editing, and that's, and I mean no disrespect, but that's rare to do with students right out of school. And frankly, he edits my stuff sometimes too and does a great job. So just goes to show the strength of writing that has come from CMU. But in particular, not to take anything away from Jason, just he clearly has a talent and an understanding how to do this.
Always been like the person that would rather not talk, just sit in the corner, do my work, and just, live my life kind of thing. But since being at CMU, it literally kind of forces you out of that shell because classes are so small. I manage all the social media accounts, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. When I was told that I would be the voice of APTN, it's honestly like I'm excited to be a part of that, but also I'm scared because that's a lot of pressure. But I've been here for about 3 months now and I love it. It's so cool. I get to talk to and learn about so many new things that I never knew.
So she represents APTN, all of us in the company, and speaks on our behalf. So, she's a we, not an I, and she interacts with all these communities. When we speak to our audience, we speak as if we're speaking to our elders. We are respectful. We do have a certain voice that we use. It's our brand, and she grasped that immediately and was fantastic. When I would see her responses and I was kind of looking at what was the conversations that were going on, I was not the least bit concerned. I was like, wow, she really understands this.